This workshop focuses on preparing you to serve as the president of your PTA, developing your leadership skills, and providing information about the many resources available to you. This workshop is intended to give you the tools you need to have a successful tenure as president. It will cover what are the basic duties of the president, what resources are available, what are some tips for building your team, what can you do to plan your year, and what you should know about membership, parliamentarian authority, and conducting a meeting and money matters. According to the bylaws, Article 10, Executive Board Section 9A describes your duties as a newly elected president. The newly elected president, no later than 30 days after election, shall call a meeting of the newly elected officers to appoint a parliamentarian and all standing committee chairs, subject to the approval of the newly elected officers, and conduct any other business as shall become necessary. After this, all meetings shall be of the entire executive board as defined by the executive board article. Article 10, Executive Board, has the description of your duties as president. Section 9B says the president shall, number 1, coordinate the work of the officers and committees of the association in order that the purposes may be promoted. 2, preside at all meetings of the membership and executive board. 3, confirm that a quorum is present at all meetings of the membership and executive board before conducting business. 4, confirm secretary and parliamentarian are present at all meetings and appoint temporary replacements when necessary before conducting business. 5, appoint the chair of each standing and special committee subject to the approval of the executive board unless otherwise provided in the bylaws. 6, be authorized to sign on bank accounts and access accounts electronically unless prohibited by terms of employment. 7, be authorized to sign executive board approved contracts. 8, be listed as the principal officer and be authorized to sign tax documents unless prohibited by terms of employment. 9, appoint a member subject to the approval of the executive board who is not authorized to sign on the bank account to review each account statement and complete the statement review by non-signer checklist. 10, represent this PTA as a delegate to Council PTA when applicable. 11, appoint the Financial Reconciliation Committee as outlined in the Fiscal Accountability article. And 12, serve as an ex officio member of all committees except the Nominating and Financial Reconciliation Committees. All of these duties can begin to sound overwhelming, but remember, the A in PTA stands for association. Remember that word because it should remind you that you are never alone in PTA. You will have the support of your executive board members as well as your entire membership. You only need to ask for help and you will find it on your local campus as well as in the support system of the Council, Texas, and National PTA. You have many resources available to help you be successful. Bylaws and standing rules. Bylaws are the document adopted by an organization which contain the basic rules for governing that organization. They are always superior to and supersede the standing rules and parliamentary authority. Always look first in your PTA's bylaws for an answer to any question, and then the standing rules if adopted, and finally in Robert's Rules of Order newly revised. Your bylaws provide the essential information for running your PTA. Read them thoroughly and become familiar with them. You must follow the bylaws at all times. Texas PTA provides the required template for all local PTAs. Only information specific to your PTA can be changed. Texas PTA can make changes to the template with the approval of the Texas PTA Board of Directors. These changes become effective August 1st of each year. It is critical that you download a copy of your current bylaws from Texas PTA after August 1st each year to make sure you have the most recent copy in effect. In addition to downloading your bylaws, you will receive a local PTA's bylaws snapshot for a quick reference to those items that can be personalized to your PTA, such as the amount of your dues, the number of vice presidents, meeting months, etc. You may also have adopted standing rules, which include the more procedural aspects of your PTA. If you have approved standing rules, you can download those at the same time as your bylaws. Remember, you must be registered as an executive board member with Texas PTA in order to download your governing documents. Robert's Rules of Order newly revised. This is the parliamentary authority for all PTAs and is used to fill in the blanks for rules and procedures not covered by your bylaws or standing rules. Past President's Procedure Book. Hopefully, you received a procedure book from your predecessor. This is the collection of documents that explain what was done in the past, the activities, projects, programs, etc. It explains how things were done, if they were successful, and if not, provides the recommendations for the future. This book can be very valuable to you as you begin your position on the board. If you did not receive a procedure book, begin one today. There is a complete overview of what this book should include in the President's Resource Guide. Every member of your executive board should have a procedure book for their position. Make certain everyone is compiling these books. And don't wait until the end of the year to verify that your executive board members are maintaining their procedure books. Check on them throughout the year by asking them to bring them to the executive board meetings. In addition to those documents, you also have additional support. If you are a member of a council, you should always start with your council PTA president when asking for help or support. If you are in a council and don't know who your council president is, call Texas PTA at 1-800-TALK-PTA and we will get you their contact information. You can also find this information on the local roster, which is located on the PTA Leader Resources page on the Texas PTA website. If you are not part of a council, you have other nearby local PTAs that you can network with and discuss effective strategies and share ideas. Every PTA in the state of Texas has an assigned field service representative, known as FSRs. FSRs are members of the Texas PTA Field Service Committee and an additional line of support. For PTAs without a council, they are your first line of support. If you don't know who your FSR is, check the local roster or call Texas PTA at 1-800-TALK-PTA and we will connect you. The Texas PTA Board of Directors are yet another level of support for your PTA. Their contact information is located on the Texas PTA website. Texas PTA also has staff that are available to help. These are paid individuals working at the Texas PTA office in Austin. Call 1-800-TALK-PTA. Your campus principal is the most consistent member of your local PTA board. Work with your principal to develop a good relationship between the PTA and the school. Texas PTA is committed to providing our volunteer leaders across the state with the knowledge and skills they need to be successful in their role within PTA. Access to quality educational resources is a key component in supporting this success, as well as continuing to build strong local and council PTAs. Both Texas PTA and National PTA have e-learning courses for our leaders. Texas PTA has a group of trainings known as Foundations. Foundations includes 3 different components. First is Essentials. Essentials is a high-level orientation to PTA that is taken online via the Texas PTA website at www.txpta.org/training. It contains the mainstay information that every PTA leader should know. All executive board members, both officers and chairs, are required to take this training at least once in their PTA career. Leaders are encouraged to take Essentials again whenever the training is updated. Next are the Basics trainings. Basics are position-specific and contain detailed information to support PTA leaders in their specific executive board position. Every executive board member, both officers and chairs, must attend a Basics course for their specific position every time they take on a new role, even if they've had that role in the past. Each Basics course includes a workshop and a companion resource guide, along with other supporting resources. These training sessions are available on demand and resource guides can be downloaded, all on the Texas PTA website. Foundations also includes spotlights. Spotlights offer a short, in-depth review of some of the specific yet important topics and reoccurring PTA functions, such as bylaws and standing rules, financial reconciliations, conducting a meeting, and nominations and elections. Spotlights are free and are not mandatory, but offer vital insights on specific and timely topics. Remember that both the essentials and basics are mandatory for all executive board members. We also have extra credit trainings. Just like extra credit assignments in a classroom, these help take the ordinary to extraordinary. Extra credit sessions are quick leadership development, off-the-shelf courses available to you when you need them. Each session offers tips and tricks for all of our PTA leaders to add to their toolkits. Some of our offerings are delegation is key, public speaking, leading versus managing, ins and outs of volunteers, and so much more. Additional sessions are continually under consideration. Don't see what you're looking for? Share your idea with us. Full Circle Leadership is Texas PTA's very own leadership development certification program. Looking at the mission, vision, and values of PTA from all angles, the portrait of a PTA leader was born. Full Circle is based on Texas PTA's leadership competencies. By focusing on the 5 key areas of technical, intrapersonal, forward-thinking, interpersonal, and adaptive skills, Texas PTA leaders are able to enhance their skills to become even more successful and effective. Visit our website to learn more. National PTA launched their new learning management platform, Thrive. Thrive has an impressive array of online training. Visit their website at www.pta.org. Officer and chair training is offered by council PTAs or FSRs, usually in the spring and or the fall, and will contain classes relevant to the specific needs of your particular community. Texas PTA launch and annual meeting occurs in July in various cities across the state. Offering over 100 great workshops, this is another great opportunity for newly elected executive board members to get training and information and to network with other PTA leaders from across the state. Texas PTA also hosts their annual meeting in conjunction with launch. Every other year, the Texas PTA officers and 4 directors at large are elected. National PTA hosts their convention in June in various cities across the nation. Training is offered on the national level with the official annual business meeting of National PTA and many networking opportunities with other PTA members from across the nation. You've become president, so let's talk about what are your first steps. You will need to call a meeting to fill any officer vacancies not filled during the election and appoint standing committee chairs. This meeting should be within 30 days of the election meeting. Check with the nominating committee for any suggested names. Any officer vacancies are filled by an election of the executive board, and appointments of standing committee chairs are approved by the executive board. You may need to conduct other business, such as preparing a budget and approving a fundraiser. Board members officially take office at the end of the fiscal year. However, some business cannot wait until you take office, as your executive board members may leave for summer vacations on the last day of school. Careful planning is essential. You'll want to choose leaders with skill sets to match their responsibilities. Remember that this is a good training opportunity to develop new leaders in your PTA. They need to be willing to work and learn as a team. All chairs must be willing to attend training. Don't automatically reject an individual simply because he or she is new to PTA or has no experience in that particular position. Make sure to distribute any procedure books you have received from last term's executive board. Knowing what has been done in a position prior to you taking that position on is one of the benefits to working within PTA. These documents allow continuity from one year to the next. If procedure books have not been maintained in your PTA, start the tradition right away. The executive board will need to review and approve all plans of work prior to any work being done. The plan of work form is available for download at the Texas PTA website. Each executive board member presents a written plan of work for approval by the executive board at the first board meeting of the new term. The president and secretary receive a copy for the PTA's permanent files. A sample president plan of work is available in the President's Resource Guide. Building your team takes time and work. Don't rush. You can fill your executive board as you find the right people. Remember that everyone comes in with different ideas and backgrounds, and that those differing perspectives are what will make your team successful. Get to know your prospective team members. You'll want to select and place the right person in the appropriate job. Make sure the position they fill fits their experience. Are they committed to the task of continuing self-development and meaningful change? Do they communicate effectively? Your board members should be able to work with others to accomplish the desired goals, regardless of any difference of opinions. Think about the different types of committees available. Is the committee they serve on a standing committee or a special committee? Which one fits their expertise, their knowledge, their resources, and schedule? Begin the year by setting ground rules or norms that everyone agrees on and commits to following throughout the term. Leaders are a vital part of every organization. They add strength to an organization by serving as the link between various levels of the organization and other volunteers. Recognize talent and potential in your leaders. Good leaders are willing to expose themselves to new situations that provide opportunities to gain new knowledge and to test and stretch the limit of their abilities. Respecting all opinions is crucial to creating a good relationship with your executive board members. Good leaders communicate effectively and allow a free exchange of information and thought. They also respect different experiences and successes. Rewarding success, no matter how you do it, a personal thank you, a note thanking them for a successful event, recognition in your newsletter or at a PTA meeting, it's important to recognize achievements. Organizational skills are a must. Good leaders exhibit a capacity for organizing chaotic situations. They have a strong sense of independence and individual initiative. They're highly sensitive to time problems and have developed techniques for effectively managing the use of their time. Let's talk about planning your year. Understanding the PTA's relationship with the school is critical. The PTA does not run the school, and the principal does not run the PTA. Educate your principal in the mission, purposes, and values of PTA. PTA leaders should receive no special treatment due to their position, so it's important to remember the chain of command. The teacher, then the principal, then the superintendent, and then the school board. Invite your principal to your meetings and explain that they are a member of your executive board. Consult with the principal on all plans and communications. In most school districts, the principal must approve all communications before distribution. Attend any meetings between the chairs and the principal. Make it easy on the next president by establishing a good rapport with the principal. Build the relationship between the principal and the president. Call a meeting with your principal after your election and discuss the partnership of the school and the PTA. Also talk about your work habits and schedule. Determine the best way to communicate. Is it in person, by phone, by email? Keep an open door policy. Discuss how you will handle communications coming from the PTA to the parents. Discuss any problems in general and how you can present a united front during the next year. We also suggest that you make a procedure book for your principal because they are a member of your executive board. It should contain the following: the bylaws, the PTA fact sheet, a calendar of meetings, a copy of the budget, the Texas PTA Principals Quick Reference Guide, the executive board roster. As a member of your PTA's executive board, your principal is required to listen to the short, about 20 minutes, principals podcast at least once. While continuing to plan your year, it is important to schedule a summer planning meeting. It's important for you, as a president, to plan prior to the meeting and let each executive board member know what they are to bring to the meeting and that they are expected to attend. Examples of what they should bring are ideas for the year, their procedure book, and an open mind. This is a time when the board comes together and brainstorms ideas they wish to accomplish for the year. Your PTA should come to consensus of at least one goal by the end of the planning meeting. Make sure your goal or goals are SMART goals. They need to be specific, measurable, attainable, results-oriented, and time-bound. The board should adopt the goals and communicate them to the membership so they can be a part of the project and support them. It's important that you share the workload with the other members of the executive board and develop future leadership. Make them feel needed by giving them responsibilities and making sure they understand them. Again, match the skills to the person. Let them do the work, but remain available as a resource. Be open to all opinions and ideas. Be positive and supportive as they work, but remember, you are ultimately in charge, so check in with them often. Let's talk membership. PTA is a membership association that advocates. Our membership number directly relates to the level of influence we have at the local, district, state, and national levels. The traditional time to recruit members is at the beginning of the school year, and it's natural that many of your activities should be concentrated then. However, members may join PTA at any time during the year, and your recruitment activities should be year-round. Our membership year is August 1st through July 31st. Now remember, there is no extension of membership year for those who join late in the spring. You'll need to escrow dues until August 1st for members joining early at events like kindergarten roundup, 6th grade, or 9th grade orientations. Members can join at any time. New people move to your school and should be welcomed by the PTA. Some people might have realized later in the year that joining PTA really is something they want to do. You'll also want to make sure your PTA is on joinpta.org, so there is an easy online method for people to join. It's also the easiest method for your PTA. The members are automatically deposited into your MyPTEZ free membership database account, and we send you your portion of the dues each month by ACH. If your PTA is not on joinpta.org yet, please complete the ACH authorization form as soon as possible. You can find that form on the joinpta.org FAQ page on our website at www.txpta.org/join-pta. Report members at least monthly. You are also eligible for awards each month. Membership cards are provided by Texas PTA. They are distributed to local PTAs prior to the school year based on the previous year's membership totals. Additional cards can be ordered once your PTA has submitted membership rosters and dues for at least 90% of the previous year's membership totals. PTAs who obtain active status prior to April 30th will not need to request cards and will receive them automatically. All others should contact the Texas PTA Member Services team. No cards will be sent without an officer on file with Texas PTA. Texas PTA's Back the Future Everyone campaign unites our PTAs, parents, school leadership, and community. It's mission-focused and inclusive. Download tools, including social media graphics and GIFs, customizable email signature, fully customizable graphic with your local school name and logo, and more. You can also use our People of PTA graphics or create your own. Everyone can back the future because anyone can join PTA. Now let's talk about meetings. There are 3 types of meeting groups. Executive Board. The Executive Board consists of elected and appointed officers, the principal, and others that are listed in the bylaws. Often, the standing committee chairs are Executive Board members, and you may also have council delegates, teacher or faculty representatives, student reps, or others. The bylaws state that regular meetings of the Executive Board are held prior to each regular meeting of the membership. This could mean the hour before, the week before, or even the month before. It's important that the Executive Board is prepared for each membership meeting. Committees. 2 types of committees exist in PTA. A standing committee is a committee whose work is ongoing throughout the year. A special committee is a committee with a specific task, and the committee is dissolved once that task has been completed. Example, a program committee works year-round, whereas a nominating committee is elected, completes the slate, and dissolves after the election. Membership. In these meetings, the members of the association, those who have paid their dues, direct the work of the association. Each PTA must select at least 3 months in which to hold membership meetings, and those months are listed in the bylaws, making those meetings required to be held. There are 2 types of meetings. Regular meetings. These meetings are those membership meetings set by the bylaws and the Executive Board meetings that are set at the beginning of the year. Special meetings. The rules for calling these meetings are set by the bylaws. Special meetings of the Executive Board or the membership can be called by the President or by a majority of the members of the board with at least 3 days' notice given to either the members of the board or the membership. You must state the purpose of the meeting in the notice, and only the items listed in the notice may be discussed. Virtual meetings are allowed in your bylaws. Article 8, Section 2 for membership meetings and Article 11, Section 2 for executive board meetings have all the necessary guidelines to host virtual meetings. Let's cover a few of the highlights. All membership meetings may be virtual with the exception of the first meeting of the year and your election meeting. Those 2 must be in person. Each virtual membership meeting requires a 10-day notice with a 5-day notice if you change the date of the meeting. Attendees must register no later than 5 days before the meeting so that you are able to verify membership for voting purposes. The meeting technology must allow each member to communicate with all of the other members attending the meeting. Best practice is to have everyone muted and allow them to unmute when they need to participate in the meeting, like asking a question, for instance. All executive board meetings may be virtual, with the exception of the first meeting of the year and 1 additional meeting. You must have at least 2 in person. Each virtual executive board meeting requires a 3-day notice, with a 3-day notice if you change the date of the meeting. In order to have a virtual executive board meeting, you must ensure all executive board members have access to the meeting technology. Remember to check your bylaws for additional requirements before hosting virtual meetings. Also, remember to consider your community and executive board members when making decisions about which type of meetings to have. Each community will have different needs, so make sure you're getting feedback on what works best for your campus. Meeting notices can get really confusing. We created this chart to help make it easy to see what is required and when. Let's talk about in-person membership meetings first. Regular membership meetings are held in the months that are listed in your bylaws. For each meeting, you should be establishing the date, time, and whether it will be virtual or in person with the approval of your executive board at the beginning of the year, and publishing that information to your members at the beginning of the year. If you need to change those dates, you'll need to give your members at least 5 days notice. If you're going to have a virtual meeting scheduled that you want to move to an in-person meeting, you must also give your members a 5-day notice so they can adjust their schedules to be able to attend in person. Special membership meetings require a 3 days notice to your members. Next, let's look at in-person executive board meetings. While many PTAs hold these monthly, they are required to be held at least before each regular meeting. You'll want to establish a schedule of these meetings and if they will be in person or virtual at the beginning of the year, and make sure each executive board member has the schedule. If you need to change those dates, you'll need to give your executive board 3 days notice. And again, if you are having a virtual meeting scheduled that you want to move to an in-person meeting, you must give your executive board a 3 days notice so they can adjust their schedules to be able to attend in person. Special executive board meetings require a 3-day notice to your executive board. Now, for virtual meetings. For membership meetings, they require at least a 10-day notice, whether regular or special, with a 5-day notice if you want to change the date. For executive board meetings, they require at least a 3-day notice, whether regular or special, with a 3-day notice if you want to change the date. This chart should help navigate all the notice requirements in PTA. Let's talk about the agenda. You'll need to determine the business to be conducted. Check with the officers and chairs to see who has reports or items that require a vote. Review minutes with the secretary to see if any unfinished business is pending. Determine any special orders as determined in the bylaws, such as the requirement to elect a nominating committee. Once you've determined what business needs to be conducted, you'll write your script. There is a build-a-script in the President's Resource Guide that has suggested language for many potential agenda items. It is the best place to start when building your own script. If you have questions, you'll want to consult the parliamentarian. They can help with things like the order of business and the proper wording for an item of business. Make sure you prepare for special circumstances, such as the election of officers. Let's walk through a membership meeting agenda. Call to order. The president, as the chair, stands, raps the gavel once, and calls the meeting to order. The president should declare whether or not a quorum is present, so both the members are aware and the secretary notes the fact in the minutes. Always start on time. If the secretary and/or the parliamentarian are not present, the chair appoints members to perform those responsibilities for the meeting. Opening ceremonies are optional. An invocation, pledges to the flags, a poem, a song, or an inspirational message may be presented. If more than one of these is used, use the rule of God before country when determining the order. Introducing guests is also optional. Introduce guests in the order of rank: National PTA, Texas PTA, Council PTA, and then local PTA. Then introduce other guests like campus and district administration. The minutes. The chair recognizes the secretary for the reading of the minutes. The secretary stands and either reads the minutes, announces that a draft of the minutes has been distributed, or announces that the minutes were approved by committee. The chair can either accept a motion to approve the minutes, either as presented or amended, or use unanimous consent, which is if there is no objection. For the current meeting, the chair may allow the membership to approve the minutes at the next meeting or appoint a committee to approve the minutes. Committee approval is recommended when the length of time between meetings causes concern for accuracy or they are needed quickly and committee approval is required for the last meeting of the year. Minutes are presented at every meeting unless they were previously approved by the committee. If the minutes have been approved by committee, the chair should state that a committee has approved the minutes from the prior meeting. This should also be stated in the minutes. Minutes should always be available to members upon request. Financial report. A financial report is not optional and must be presented at every executive board and membership meeting. The period covered should be from meeting to meeting, not first of the month to end of the month. The treasurer reads the financial report, which includes at least the beginning balance, the total income, the total expenditures, and the ending balance. The beginning balance should match the ending balance from the previous report. The chair states that the report is filed for financial reconciliation. Letters or communication. Any relevant letters received are read to the members. Report of the executive board. A summary report, not the minutes, is read for the information of the members. This report should include any resignations or appointments of board members. Recommendations in the form of motions are voted upon one at a time. A motion from the executive board does not require a second. These motions may be in regards to budget amendments, any actions that the board deems necessary for the membership to approve. Reports of officers. The chair calls for any officers who have reports to provide those reports to the membership at this time. An officer report does not include a motion unless action is required. A motion from an officer does require a second unless coming from a committee. If the motion was voted on by the executive board, you may want to present it during that report. The chair need not be recognized if there is no report. Reports of standing committees. The chair calls for the report of the committee, not the chair's report. A report from a committee may be informational or require action as determined by a majority vote of the committee. Reports with information only are read to the voting body. Those reports requiring action are presented as a motion to the membership, no second is required, and the members vote to approve, either as presented or amended, or reject the motion. Any items brought to the executive board for a vote first may also be presented to the members in an executive board report. The member, usually the committee chair, presenting the report, moves the adoption of the motion. The president conducts the vote on the motion, not the committee chair making the motion. If no recommendation is made, no motion is needed. The chair need not recognize the committee chair if there is no report. Reports of special committees. The reports of special committees follows the same rules as those for standing committees. If no special committees exist, this item of business does not appear on the agenda. Special orders. Motions made by special order by a 2/3 vote at an earlier time are addressed at this point. Also, matters required by the bylaws to be taken up at a specific meeting are in order at this time, such as election of your nominating committee and the election of officers. Unfinished business. The chair announces, but does not call for, business under this item. Unfinished business consists of business left unfinished at the previous meeting or business postponed to this meeting. Minutes of the previous meeting should indicate any unfinished business. You will always know if there is unfinished business, so there is no need to call for it if it doesn't exist. It won't need to be on the agenda. New business. The chair calls for new business. Members may bring any new business before the association if it is within the scope of the association. A motion is necessary to introduce new items of business. Program. The chair recognizes the program or the parent education chair who introduces the program. The chair does not turn the meeting over to this chair. The chair remains in control of the meeting from the call of order until adjournment. The chair may announce, with the membership's consent, that the meeting will be adjourned immediately following the program. Announcements. The chair should, if possible, make all announcements. Announcements include the date of the next meeting, important events and activities coming up, anything you think the members should know. Adjourn. The chair asks if there is any further business. If any additional business exists, it is handled at this time. If no further business exists, then the chair declares the meeting adjourned. No motion is necessary to adjourn. Let's dig a little deeper into parliamentary procedure. Parliamentary procedure is important for many reasons. It protects the rights of all members, it promotes fairness and equality, and it provides basic rules that govern all. The authority of the association lies in the bylaws, any other adopted rules, and Robert's Rules of Order newly revised. The president needs to be familiar with parliamentary procedure, not just the parliamentarian. Let's begin with the basic method of conducting business, with a motion. There are 8 essential steps to a main motion. Obtain the floor. Member rises and addresses the chair and awaits recognition by the chair. Assigning the floor. The chair recognizes the member and assigns the member the floor by speaking the member's name or nodding to the member. Making the motion. The member introduces the motion by stating, "I move that." Seconding the motion. Another member seconds the motion by saying, "I second the motion," or simply second. Remember, by seconding a motion, the member is merely agreeing that the motion should come before the assembly, not that he necessarily favors the motion. Stating the motion. The chair states the question on the motion, saying, "It has been moved and seconded that." Discussion or debate. The chair calls for remarks by asking, "Is there discussion?" and recognizing the maker of the motion as the first speaker, or by asking, "Are you ready for the question?" Putting the question. When debate seems to have ceased, the chair says, "The question is on the adoption of the motion. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no." Announce the vote. The chair states the result of the vote, saying, "The ayes have it and the motion is adopted," or "The noes have it and the motion has failed." What is quorum? Quorum is the minimum number of members who must be present at the meeting in order to conduct business. A meeting can be called to order if there's not a quorum. Reports can be presented, announcements can be made, but no action can be taken without a quorum. Meetings for the executive board and committees are managed in very similar ways. For both the executive board and any committee, an individual can only serve in one position. An executive board member may temporarily serve in another position while trying to locate an individual to fill the vacancy, but they may only vote in the capacity of their elected or appointed position. Remember, there are no co-officers or co-chairs. The quorum for both types of meetings is a majority of the filled positions. Example, if there are 25 positions on the board, but only 12 positions are filled, then the quorum is 7. In the case of committee meetings, the president serves as an ex officio member of all committees except the nominating and the financial reconciliation committees. This process allows the president to be informed about all decisions made in the committees and to provide continuity. What is an ex officio committee member? An ex officio member can make motions, debate, and vote, but is not counted in the quorum. Remember, A committee is composed of more than one member. There is no proxy voting in PTA. An executive board member must be present in order to participate in the meeting. The quorum for membership meetings is stated in your bylaws. The minimum required by Texas PTA is 10 members, but the exact number is determined by each individual PTA. Again, there is no proxy voting. Since a quorum must be present before any action is taken, the president is responsible for confirming that a quorum is present before conducting any business on the agenda, and this is recorded in the minutes. Minutes are taken at each executive board and membership meeting and are approved at the following meeting. A committee can be appointed to approve the minutes, but they must each sign them to be official. From the executive board, only recommendations go to the membership, not the details of the entire meeting. These recommendations are to be adopted by the membership. Programs are a member benefit. They must support the mission and purposes of PTA. They can provide parent education and information necessary in raising happy, healthy children. Programs bring the home, school, community, and place of worship closer together for the benefit of all. They should provide content that adds value to the meetings. Program topics and presenters vary. They may be presented by a teacher or administrator, an outside agency, a community group, etc. The topic should be relevant to the issues facing parents and students today. PTA should survey their parents and teachers to determine their needs. Programs should provide a service. PTAs have been providing this type of information for more than 100 years. Programs are a member benefit. Remember the fundraising 3-to-1 guideline. While fundraising is often necessary in order to further the work of your PTA, you should have only one fundraiser for every 3 programs. Consider parent education, family engagement, and advocacy efforts when you think about programs. Connect. Texas PTA has a new series of parent education programs for your PTA to use free of charge. They are short videos with subject matter experts on timely topics that are important to parents. We have mental wellness for both primary and secondary students, cyberbullying, human trafficking, cybersecurity, college readiness, and more. Go online at txpta.org for more information and to request a program at your campus. Every single board member should be knowledgeable on the financial responsibilities of the PTA. Below is the basic information on finances that every executive board member needs to be aware of. There is so much more involved in the everyday financial management of a PTA. These are only the basics. For more detailed information, see www.txpta.org/treasurer. Fiduciary responsibility in a PTA means the executive board members act as trustees of the organization's assets and must exercise due diligence to oversee that the organization is well managed and that its financial situation remains sound. The executive board verifies that all filing requirements and tax obligations are complete. The budget creates the framework for program management and overall administrative decisions. An approved budget must be in place at all times in order for expenditures to be made and fundraisers to be conducted. Let's look at the budget process. Form a committee to develop the budget. Consult your bylaws and standing rules for committee composition. The treasurer is the chair. Use the approved plans of work and adopted goals as the basis for the budget, if completed. If not yet completed, you can use the budget from the current year to help set the budget for the next fiscal year. The proposed budget is presented to the executive board for discussion. They then approve to recommend the budget to the membership for their approval. Present to the membership for approval by a majority vote at the annual or last meeting of the year. The budget can be amended any time after adoption. You will present the budget amendments to the membership for approval by a 2/3 vote. Here is a sample proposed budget. Notice that the beginning balance plus the budgeted income balances with the budgeted expenses and cash balance forward. This sample can be found in the Treasurer's Resource Guide at www.txpta.org/treasurer. Primary emphasis in PTA should focus on promoting the PTA mission, vision, and purposes, not on fundraising. Every PTA should begin the year with specific goals aligned with the PTA's mission before deciding the funds needed to accomplish these tasks and which fundraisers will work best. PTA should only raise the funds necessary to meet the needs of the year's activities and projects as outlined in the budget. Financial reports. To keep people informed, a current financial report is presented at every regular executive board and membership meeting. As the funds belong to the members, they have the right to access the financial reports presented at membership meetings. Financial reports are filed rather than adopted. The reports are provided to the secretary and attached to the meeting minutes, which are provided to the Financial Reconciliation Committee and maintained permanently. Setting up a bank account. The president and treasurer are signers per your bylaws unless prohibited by employment. Check the standing rules to determine any additional signers. Bank statements should be opened and reviewed by a PTA member who does not sign on the account. There is a non-signer bank statement review checklist they should use, found at the bottom of the President's page on the website. The original document will be given to and is kept by the Secretary, and the non-signer reviewer should retain a copy. The Treasurer should be given a copy along with the bank statement, and the Secretary will present the report at the next Executive Board meeting. If there are significant questions with the review, contact your counsel, field service representative, or Texas PTA for assistance. Financial transactions. Payments. Payments are never made in cash, and blank checks should never be issued. All payments must relate to an approved budget item and have a reimbursement form with the receipt and/or a bill attached. No other organization may pass its money through the PTA account in an effort to achieve tax-exempt status, and money can never be turned over to the school and/or the principal to spend at their discretion. Depositing funds. All monies collected are turned over to the treasurer as soon as possible. Money is counted by at least 2 people at the same time, and both counters and the treasurer each sign and keep a copy or an image of the completed Texas PTA deposit form. The treasurer may be one of the 2 counters unless prohibited by the PTA standing rules. All money should be deposited in the bank daily. Never deposit money in a personal account or leave the money in someone's home. Cash should never be taken from an event's collected money to pay expenses, reimburse individuals, or use as startup cash for a later event. E-commerce policy. A PTA's membership must vote to authorize one or more of the following e-commerce options: recurring payments, debit or credit cards, and point of sale or online payment collection systems, and adopt the e-commerce policy found at txpta.org/policies. This policy can be annually adopted as a standalone policy or incorporated into the PTA's standing rules. Insurance. Operating a local PTA is much like running a small business. Businesses need insurance to protect their investment. The same is true for PTAs. Insurance is available in the following categories. Fidelity embezzlement bonding is recommended to protect your money. Event general liability is to protect your organization. Directors and officers liability is to protect your officers from accusations. It is in the PTA's best interest to cover the treasurer and all other persons authorized to handle money to cover losses through any fraudulent or dishonest act. Insurance premiums are budgeted as an expense line. Property insurance to replace PTA property if damaged or lost. Accidental medical endorsement to complement your general liability policy. But if you must only choose one, the fidelity embezzlement bonding is recommended. Contracts. The President is authorized signer on all contracts as approved by the Executive Board. Include your title as an officer in order to avoid personal liability. Financial reconciliations. The President appoints the Financial Reconciliation Committee at the annual meeting. The committee is composed of not less than 3 members. No one who is an authorized signer on any bank account may serve on the committee. The current secretary, the incoming treasurer, anyone related by blood or marriage to an authorized signer, or anyone who resides in the same household as the authorized signers or the current secretary are also not eligible to serve on the Financial Reconciliation Committee. The committee can also not be majority student members. The Financial Reconciliation Committee should use the checklist and form on our website. A financial reconciliation must be completed at the close of the fiscal year, but a financial reconciliation must also be conducted anytime an authorized signer is added or deleted on any bank account. A financial reconciliation is also required to be conducted any time deemed necessary by the President or 3 or more members. For the end of year and account signer change reviews, the Financial Reconciliation Committee provides the treasurer with a copy of the report immediately after the reconciliation and reviews the findings and recommendations at the next executive board meeting following the reconciliation. For a called review, the Financial Reconciliation Committee reviews the findings and recommendations at the first executive board meeting following the report to the membership. If theft, fraud, or embezzlement is suspected, the PTA is required by the bylaws to follow Texas PTA's theft, fraud, and embezzlement policy that can be found on our website, and contact your counsel, your field service representative, and Texas PTA. State sales tax. PTAs are not required to pay the Texas sales tax on items purchased for use in presenting programs or carrying on the work of the PTA. When PTA members purchase items for the PTA, they present an exemption certificate to the retailer so that sales tax is not charged. The PTA does not need a sales tax permit to purchase items tax-free. The PTA must have a sales tax permit if the PTA sells tangible items, such as handicrafts, candles, t-shirts, cups, books, and school supplies, at times other than the 2 designated tax-free days allowed. There is no fee for the permit, and it remains valid until a request to cancel it is made by the PTA or it's canceled by the Texas Comptroller. 2 tax-free days or 24-hour periods per calendar year can be approved and recorded in the minutes at either an executive board or membership meeting prior to a sale event. A tax-free sale must not be a year-long activity such as a school store. The Texas Comptroller's Office has ruled that PTAs may consider advanced order sales fundraisers as one of their tax-free days, provided the following criteria are met. 1. All orders must be submitted by the PTA to the supplier prior to the delivery of the merchandise. 2. All merchandise must be delivered to the PTA by the supplier on one day. 3. The merchandise must be delivered to the purchaser over a reasonable period of time. Texas PTA recommends this period of delivery not to exceed 3 weeks. 4. The tax-free day is the day of delivery to the PTA, or the day of delivery to the customer if the delivery occurs on one day and not over a multi-day event. The PTA may decide which of the 2 options they prefer. The Texas Comptroller's Office has ruled that brochure catalog sales are not eligible for tax-free declaration by the PTA because For these sales, the PTA is acting as an agent for the vendor, who is the determined seller. The PTA collects sales tax on the sales price and remits it to the vendor to remit to the comptroller's office. A PTA can participate in the Texas sales tax holiday or tax-free weekend. This does not count towards your 2 tax-free days. Be sure to keep a detailed record of sales tax collected and remitted to the state comptroller and include that information on every financial report. State sales tax reports must be filed timely. If you are an annual filer, the due date is January 20th. All PTAs are required to electronically file one of the following IRS 990 returns. The 990N is very simple to complete for gross receipts that are $50,000 or less. The 990EZ and Schedules A and O if your gross receipts are less than $200,000 and total assets are less than $500,000. The 990 and Schedules A through O if your gross receipts are greater than $200,000 or your total assets are more than $500,000. The President is the authorized signer on all tax documentation. This would include correspondence. It is your responsibility to file the forms if you meet the standards, even if you do not receive them from the IRS. Do not ignore tax forms, even if you are not liable for any taxes. If you pay employees over $600, you are required to file a 1099 or W-2. Communication is key to the success of any association. Be certain to follow your school district's policies on distribution and always get your principal's approval before anything is printed and distributed. Your website and social media are excellent ways to communicate with the entire community. Consult the social media guidelines at the Texas PTA website. Newsletters provide valuable information regarding the PTA, the school, and the community. Consider distributing them in a variety of ways, such as email, print, or post on your website. Keep the content timely and engaging. Some tips are use it for recognition and saying thank you, make it useful, report what events and programming has happened, and report what events and programming are scheduled. Executive Board. Decide up front the preferred means of communication for the majority. You can set up a free G Suite for nonprofit with folders for each executive board member. Talk about the difference between disseminating versus discussion emails and how you will differentiate the two. Discuss the importance of a quick response and determine as a group what the acceptable response time will be. Public relations. Use of the media can build community involvement. Build a relationship with reporters in your area. Know their area of responsibility and direct contacts at the paper and local news stations. Write press releases about your events regularly. Ask for deadlines and respond within the time frame. Designate a PTA spokesperson. If not the president, who is the official spokesperson, then keep the president in the loop. You must have membership approval before speaking for the local PTA, and become familiar with your school district's procedures for media contact and use. Recognition and assistance. There are many opportunities available to our members and to our PTAs. Here are just a few examples. They are constantly changing, so be sure to visit the National PTA and Texas PTA websites. Awards. Awards are a wonderful free way to recognize the accomplishments of your volunteers. Some councils may also offer awards. Texas PTA has an honorary life membership award and extended service award you can award deserving individuals. National PTA has a lifetime achievement award. You can create your own awards unique to your campus. Scholarships. Student and faculty scholarships are available from Texas PTA. Check for the requirements and deadlines on our website. Natural disaster emergency needs. Emergency needs relief for expenses such as hospital bills, medicines, etc., for individuals who are victims of natural disasters, catastrophic illness, or accidents is available from Texas PTA. Disaster relief is available for the PTA that has sustained hardship due to a natural disaster. Grants. There are many grant opportunities for PTAs. Make sure you check Texas PTA and National PTA's websites and social media accounts often to stay up to date on new offerings. Some current ones are National PTA STEM Plus Families and National PTA PTA Connected program. National PTA has made applying for these grants extremely easy, so please don't let the fear of a typical grant application scare you off. These are so easy to apply for. Also, make sure your PTA members understand the discounts they can receive as a benefit of membership in PTA. Check the updated benefits on both the Texas PTA and National PTA websites. Texas PTA staff and volunteer leaders are here to answer any of your questions regarding your position. Our toll-free number is 1-800-TALK-PTA or email us directly. Thank you for your time and attention. I hope that this training has been beneficial and it will make your work in PTA easier and more enjoyable. If you have any questions in the future, please know that your field service representative and your council leaders are always ready to help.